Hello, my name is Tristin. Today, let's learn how to take your phone footage from this into this. We have to understand what we need to do to make this shot better. And it's really quite simple. We're going to want to try and get better audio and better lighting. So right now I'm recording on my phone and the normal camera app, and I just have my ceiling light on and I'm using the mic on the phone. By the way, it's an iPhone 12 mini. You might have heard before people saying audio is 50% of video. And when you think about it, it really is true. Videos that you watch are complemented with audio. And when that audio is not very good quality, no matter how good the video quality is, your mind is going to subconsciously think, this isn't that good quality, I don't like this. So to fix that, I'm going to be using this microphone right here. It's a Blue Yeti Black Edition. You can find that at Best Buy or any online retailer, and to pair with that, I'm going to be recording on my laptop with Audacity. The reason why I'm recording to Audacity is because it's a free open source software that allows me to edit that audio. Now the same thing goes with your phone. If you don't have the money to afford a new mic or anything better than your phone audio, consider taking the audio that you record on your phone and bringing it into Audacity, because then you have more control over your voice and how it sounds. I mean, just think about it. It's free, it doesn't take that long, and if you can learn how to do it properly and do it efficiently, effectively, your videos are going to look a lot better to the viewer. Even though the video itself, the image, might not look any different, the audio can make it a lot better. So without further ado, this is with the new audio. As you can see, it really impacted the shot and it feels a lot more professional and put together. Even though I did nothing to the scene. Same lighting, same camera settings, no color grading, none of that's done. So now that we have our audio figured out, let's move on to the fun stuff. Lighting. When you're dealing with lighting, the first thing you want to do is make sure you have a blank canvas, so to speak. To do that, just turn all the lights off. Make sure it's pitch black, you have no light in your room. Okay, so that's what this looks like for me. I have no lights on. All the lights that you see are from either my computer behind me or I have a little bit of light coming through my window over here. So the first light that we're going to want to think about adding, and the most important light, is the key light. The key light is basically your main light source and the main thing illuminating your subject. Generally speaking, you want your key light to be about 45 degrees away from your subject. So if the key light was straight on me, it would be 0 degrees, 45 would kind of be over here. But for me personally, I like to have a more moody look, so it's a little closer to 90 degrees. It's right here, it's right out of shot. This is what it looks like with the first light, the key light. Now let's think about adding a filler light. As you can see right here, there's a lot of shadows, it's very dark, and we have a very bright source over here. It's kind of weird, it's like a two-tone. We got bright lights over here and dark light over here. It's not exposed over here. So to fix that, we want to add what's called a filler light. A filler light is basically what it sounds like. It fills in those dark spots, those shadows. You want your filler light to be kind of similar to how your ring light is. If it's 45 degrees, maybe try having your filler light at 45 degrees. But for me, like I said, it's closer to 90, so mine's gonna be closer to 90, maybe about 70, 75 degrees. And the key thing to do here is lower it so it's not as bright as your key light. So you have that sort of dynamic range still. You still have that bright spot and that darker spot. In a perfect situation, you want your key light and your filler light to have the same color temperature. Okay, so now we have our filler light on and it's immediately looking a lot better. We have a good lighting situation on my face and my skin tones are starting to look more exposed. For the next and kind of final thing really, is we want to add what's called practical lights. Practical lights are things that you see in the scene, lights that are generally behind you, and they add a lot more depth and they make the shot more interesting. A lot of the times practical lights have a color to them and they're not just plain white. So for me, I have a light strip on my desk behind me that's going to be turned on, and then I also am going to be placing a candle behind that subwoofer right there, that black box. That's a subwoofer. So now we have this candle on right here behind that black box, the subwoofer, and now let's turn our other lights on. Hold on, this is $5 for this. $5. We'll talk about it later. It's on. So we're pretty much done here. The scene is very dynamic, there's a lot going on, it's pretty interesting, but in the end, it's very professionally sounding and well put together. Another thing you can do is invest in a new camera app. So far, all of this has just been shot on the standard iPhone camera app. If you're on an iPhone, I definitely recommend investing in an app called Filmic Pro. It costs $15, which is pretty expensive for an iPhone app, but it allows you to do so much and it almost turns your phone into a DSLR. You have control over things like shutter and ISO, along with your color balance. The key reason I recommend this app is to be able to adjust your color balance. Now, I said previously, you want your key light and your filler light to pretty much be exactly the same as far as color temperature goes. And along with that, you want your camera to be set at the same white balance. So right now, both my lights are set to about 5800 Kelvin. So let's go in the Filmic Pro and set the color balance to 5800 Kelvin as well. And that's what it looks like. This is just another small subtle thing that you can do to slightly improve the shot and push it to the next level. Lastly, there's really only one thing left to do, and that's to go into your editing software, whether you're using something like DaVinci or Premiere. I'm personally using Premiere, and you want to color grade your footage. You want your skin tones to look really nice and to have a proper exposure and to not be too oversaturated. So as we can see, now that it's color graded properly and color corrected, that really finalized and polished our shot. And guess what? You're done. That's all of it. There's no hidden secrets, nothing crazy, nothing super difficult in your camera settings. This is it. If you're enjoying this video so far, maybe consider, liking down there somewhere. It's down there. Come on. And subscribing. Come on. Come on. Let's do it. Please. Thank you. If you didn't do it, I'll remember it. I'll remember that. I'm going to come for you. You watch out. I don't know. Now, the cost of everything really isn't that bad either. I have a few expensive things and a few cheaper things, but if you wanted to, you can get really expensive things or just get really cheap things. So for me personally, my filler light over here is an Aperture B7C. Very nice, very useful for anything travel or anything like that. I love that light bulb. Costs $70. So the filler light over here is a Sunpack 12-inch ring light that cost about $50 from Best Buy. And you also have to consider that we spent the $15 on the Filmic Pro. And like I said earlier, my mic right here is a Blue Yeti Black Edition. Cost me, I think, $130. And then in the background, I just have a candle. If you have one of those lying around, doesn't cost you anything. Maybe $5 if you don't have one. And then those LED light strips on my desk, those are $5 each. Not expensive at all. I'll put the total price somewhere on the screen right now. I'm guessing it's around like $250. I get how that can be pretty expensive, but you can cheap out on a lot of these things. Like the Aperture light is kind of overdoing it. You don't have to get that. That's more of a professional grade lighting solution. I'm guessing if you really wanted to, you can spend about $100 or less and it would look a lot better. All in all, the stigma around having to have a really expensive camera is true in some situations, but you don't necessarily need an expensive camera. If you only have your phone, work with what you have. Your phone, as you can see, can take great video if you know what you're doing. It's all about knowing your gear and how to push it to its limits. Now, I hope this video wasn't too overwhelming, and if you found any of this information useful and you're using it in your day-to-day life, let me know. Leave a link below to any content you've created. I'd love to see how I've impacted and helped you, because after all, that's what I'm trying to do here. But other than that, make sure that you have a great day and make every day better than the day before. And as always, go out there and get creative. Kind of cool, Kind of crazy how powerful phones are these days. Wow.